one of the most brilliant things I ever read, I believe Solzhenitsyn cited this, Alexander Solzhenitsyn, that great Russian author of the Gulag Archipelago. He said, he's cited as an old father of the church, I believe, came up with this idea, trying to characterize God. God is a circle whose circumference is nowhere and whose center is everywhere. And I think that's right. And our whole culture, your country and perhaps in particular, but our whole culture, the culture of freedom and responsibility, is predicated on the idea that each person is a reflection of the image of God, right? Man and woman alike, made in the image of God, so of intrinsic divine worth. And that's something, It's something to rely on if you're very ill and things are going badly around you, because maybe you have something inexhaustible to draw on to help you deal with something that's impossible to deal with. But it also puts a heavy weight of responsibility on you, because if that's true, and God help us if it isn't, if that's true, then every single one of us has something that's infinitely important to do, that's equally important to do. And it's hard for us to conceptualize how that might be the case, but what do we know about this ultimate structure of reality? And it certainly does seem to be the case that the more responsibility that you take upon yourself voluntarily, well, first of all, the less there's left over for tyrants to vacuum up, and that's worth thinking. But also, that's also the richer and deeper your life becomes, and there's no real end to that as far as I can tell. And you really need to know that, when the floods are coming and the catastrophe is looming and the tyrants are knocking at your door, you want to have something, or chaos beckons, you want to have something on your side. And the responsibility that you've taken in your life to fortify yourself and to make of yourself and your family what it could be, and to strengthen your network of friendships and to organize your community and serve it, all that, you have that at hand when all hell might otherwise break loose. And I do believe, and I learned this from Carl Jung, Jung after the Second World War, particularly after we developed the hydrogen bomb, he said that most of what would threaten us in the future wouldn't be external crises, even of the environmental kind, let's say. What would threaten us would be our own inadequacy and insanity in the face of the dreadful technology that we had brought about. And his idea in some sense was that if you have, the larger your toys, the more put together you better be to play with them. And we're really at that point now. We've probably been at that point, since the hydrogen bomb first exploded onto the scene, let's say. But that's just one of many massive, giant technologies that are now confronting us head on. And if we can master those like masters, God only knows what sort of world we could produce. But if we falter and fail, we're going to see things come our way that'll make the horrors of the last century look like Satan was just doing a warm-up dance. So that's all rather serious. So, part of the reason I'm telling you that is I'm hoping the people who are on board for this new venture of vision, let's say, are sufficiently cautious about top-down structures of power so that we can produce a vision that's invitational, and that lays upon everyone the responsibility that's appropriate to their local position, knowing full well that the center is everywhere and that everyone has a crucial part to play. You could think about it this way, I suppose, and this if you have children. I think children reveal this to you in a way that no one else can. You know that the people that you deeply love, that there's something, what would you say, unique, spectacular and unique about them, right? In their idiosyncratic particularity. There's never going to be a person like that again. There never was someone like that ever. The whole universe had to conspire for 14 billion years to produce that person. So improbable. And they bring together a plurality into a unity that is unique, really. And that unique plural unity has something to reveal into the world, that the world will be lesser without. And you know that because when you have children and they don't do, and they aren't revealing their best, you know, it hurts you because you know that it's so necessary for them and perhaps for everyone else that they do that. And you can see that, and you see that in the people that you love the most. And why would it not be that those are the people that you see most clearly? And so why wouldn't it be that that's the most real thing that you see? And then if it's true of your children, you know, that they need to not hide their light under a bushel, you know, they need to be a shining city on the hill. Why wouldn't that be the same for you? You were someone's child. It's the same rule. And maybe it is the case that the world is a lesser place without what you can bring into it, in the absence of what you could bring into it. And you know, that might be crucial at some point. You don't know. You don't know what's going to tip the scales one way or another, you know, and it's daunting to think that it's on you, you know. What did Dostoevsky say? Every man is responsible for everything he does and for everything everyone else does. And that's utterly insane, that idea. And I think it's also true. And if the world appears in your eyes to be lacking, which is how it appears if you're resentful or bitter, then you might ask yourself, what have you failed to do? And that's the right question. It's really the right question. How could you address that? And that's a good question. And I would say at this Exodus seminar, the people around the table, that's what they were trying to do. You know, they were trying to grapple with what needed to be done next that was the best thing to do. And, you know, who knows what we could be if we decided to be all we could be. You know, and so that's the invitation to the eternal banquet. That's what that is.